Welcome to the big kick-off League of Ireland Sports Bar with myself, Roy Shanahan, and of course Nathan Doyle as always. Well, it's been an interesting night, Nathan, and we're going to start off with your boys, and we won't start talking about St. Pat's this time around. A 3-1 victory for Finn Harps, and I think Finn Harps deserve for us to discuss how they played, because great result and a really good performance.
Yeah, no, they'd be delighted that they got the big kickoff treatment, getting talked about first. It's like going on first and match of the day, isn't it? All the big performance, get the nod. Now, look, 3-1 win for Finn Harps, and the night belongs to them. I know I sound stupid saying that with a 3-1 win, but this was, for me, anyway, and I think you were saying something similar. It's more a really, really good Finn Harps performance rather than a bad Pats. And we get on to Pats in a couple of minutes, but yeah, for me, especially in the second half when they sort of reverted to the 4-2-3-1, you had Mark Coyle and Will Seymour sitting a little bit deep. That gave the likes of Ethan Boyle a bit more freedom to go forward. Look, the man at the moment is Tunde, isn't it? The man that got the hat-trick, took his chances really, really well. And look, and even in fairness to Finn Harps, they had about a 5-minute spell from the 80th minute to the 85th minute. It really could have been a 4-5-1 to them. They had a lot of chances. They really did. Tunde was in one-on-one. Excellent save by Vít Jaros. McNamee had a bit of a snapshot again. Vít Jaros kept passing the game, really, especially in that dying 10 minutes. Webster had a bit of a punt from a corner. Forrester hit it off the line. Tunde again with a free header from the back post from it was a resulting corner from the Webster chance. So, yeah, realistically, it could have been a 4-5-1 to Finn Harps, but excellent performance. The midfield was compact, it was tight. The range of passing was really good. I think they just done the simple things. They got to the second ball quicker than any St. Pat's man did in the entire 90 minutes. They weathered the storms in terms of Pats were the better side in probably in the first 10 minutes of the first half and the first 5 or 6 minutes in the second half, and they weathered a little bit of a storm Pats gave with the possession. But yeah, Tunde will get all the plaudits with his hat-trick, but great team performance. I'm thinking of some Dave Webster. I knew there was somebody else had to give a shout out to. He was immense at the back in the last 15 minutes. Plenty of crosses came in. Pats had the chances. Yeah. Pats had the chances in the last 15 minutes. Couple of crosses, couple of half chances. But like you said, he won every header, won every tackle. Real leader at the back. Put himself about excellently, which you want as a centre half of his vintage. Someone that's been around the league as long as Dave has. Yeah, great win, great result, and a great team performance.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now, Finn Harps' results are starting to turn around again. Gone through a terrible, terrible period where they've gone from the top 2-3 to the bottom 2-3, and now they're just starting to. Why is that? Can we put our finger on why that is?
I just think that's going to be Harps, isn't it? Yeah, like I said, they were an absolute torrent time for you. They couldn't even get a draw in a lot of these games, but now they find themselves on a 3-game bounce. Obviously winning in the cup and then beating Sligo last week and Pats now this week. Big difference is probably just tightening them up at the back. You've seen they had a win even before the Sligo games. 3 wins in the bounce now. Sorry, Danny Finn Harps fans. They've toned down on conceding goals. Again, there's something silly to say, but even like having Webster there now, I think the bit of a shift in formation has done them well. You've seen, obviously, look, I'm going to be surprised that Adam Foley didn't start the game today, but it worked, it really did. Tunde caused absolute chaos up there. Sam Bone, Paddy Barrett, you just couldn't deal with the speed, couldn't deal with the physicality of the man. And I've seen Tunde playing a couple of games and he was quite wasteful. Now, we've got a hat-trick here, but he had other chance. Tunde could have scored about 5 goals in this game, but he was much more clinical today than what I've seen him be in the past. So it's just small little change like that, isn't it? Like you were even saying before we came on here, it was just a Finn Harps side that just down to the bare bones, took the chances. And that's what we're seeing now. Finn Harps will always be like that, won't he? They always will sort of ebb and flow a little bit. The momentum will come and go with them. Ollie Horgan will do that. He'll get his side, especially in these latter halves of the seasons. When we're coming down to the nitty-gritty of it, into these relegation battles, how many times have we seen a Finn Harps side come out of the doldrums and just come alive once again? So, yeah, we could be seeing that again, couldn't we? And it was looking really, really nervy a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, with a Waterford side that we're going to talk about in a few minutes on the rise. But yeah, look, Finn Harps doing well. They have the next league game, I think, is Shamrock Rovers, which is going to be difficult. But look, in Ballybuffet, who knows? Anything can happen.
Well, it won't be that difficult if Shamrock Rovers play the way they did in Europe. And we'll be getting on to that one very soon.
Yes, we
Okay,
will.
let's talk about St. Pat's, because we might joke there about Shamrock Rovers, but the defending that St. Pat's had tonight wasn't too far off that shambles midweek.
No, it wasn't. Jeez, it could have been worse in spells as well. It was absolutely a mess back there. And, you know, when your side gets beaten 3-1 like that and we're doing what we do here, you want to be talking about did that go wrong up top. There wasn't really too many chances. There wasn't anything calamitous that people should have been scoring. A couple of half chances really here and there for likes of Matty Smith and the Montalay striker in Wogo hit the post late enough into the game. But yeah, it was all about the defence, wasn't it? The midfield wasn't spectacular in the first half. I think Alfie Lewis got a little bit isolated in the middle. There was nobody tracking back to help him out, which that was a big difference as well. Even just going back to Finn Harris for a second, the likes of Barry McNamee, was always willing to push back and help out the back four, and we just didn't see that today from the St. Pat's side. There was plenty of times where it was simple long balls, wasn't it? That was being pumped up even from the goalkeeper, from goal kicks, and the likes of Paddy Barrett and Sam Bowen were just caught out completely, caught napping, letting the ball bounce. Just schoolboy errors, what do you say? In Birmingham over in a right back position for a lot of the first half. He was really uncomfortable over there. Slight improvement, he moved over to his natural left back position in the second half. But yeah, that's all it's going to be down to the critical side from the Pats point of view. It was just the stupid errors at the back that really badly cost them. And in fairness to Finn Harps, he did put Pats to the sword. Like I said, you've seen Tunde in the past hit some of them chances that he had high wide, not very handsome. But now we took them well today.
And what did you make of St. Pat's starting lineup? As you said, Birmingham wasn't comfortable there at all. Did changes need to be made like that, or what did you make of them?
Yeah, it is a Pat's side that's struggling with injury. There's just a lot of people do know that. Look, going even with the front two, Matty Smith and Melvin Lambert, they were always going to play. It's good to see Matty Smith back. He thought he picked up a bit of a hamstring injury against Waterford, but obviously it was only a bit more of a niggle, which is good to see. It's the last thing Pats needed, someone like him being out for a lengthy spell. Yeah, it's just the defence, really, wasn't it? But even at the bench, it was always going to be a bare bones. You're always going to have Jason McLennan coming in and slotting into the back four. With the young lads, Sam Curtis on the bench, James Abankwe, who came on late in the game. These were never going to realistically start. I just think it was next man up. That's what even Stephen O'Donnell was saying that in a press conference during the week. Like Darragh Burns on the bench, Ronan Coughlin on the bench. They were just these are two lads again coming back from injuries that haven't been training on a consistent basis. I think it's just what Pats have at their availability at the moment. The young lad as well that came in, Jack Hickman, over from England again. He only trained once for the lads during the week, so he wasn't up to par.
Yeah, and as Rob was saying, massive Lee Desmond shape.
Yeah.
It does, when you're a side like St. Pat's, you do need those players. They're big players for you, and it's hard to replace those players. They obviously don't have them coming through behind.
No, there's a couple of promising new lads on the bench. Again, go back to Abankwe and Curtis, but they're not ready for that step up. We're talking about Lee Desmond. Is not only Mr. Consistency for Pats, but one of the best defenders that the league as a whole has to offer. We've seen him earlier on in the season make a bad mistake against Shamrock Rovers that cost St. Pat's a draw, and that was totally out of character for someone like Lee Desmond. That he's been absolutely immense ever since he came into that Pat side. One of the more long-standing players at the club, and such a consistent performer, and really somebody that if he wanted to, now it's with different reasons, maybe he doesn't want to make the move, but you could always see him as someone that could go over to England or Scotland and make a big splash because he has everything under his belt, and to hear that. Thankfully, we've seen him against Waterford. What happened? The bad clash of heads and the convulsions, and thankfully, it doesn't seem to be as bad as we forced thought. People are even saying that he could be back after the Cork City game next week, which would be excellent for St. Pat's. So, yeah, badly missing him because he's absolutely vital to that team, and he'd be vital to any team with what he brings to the table.
Yeah. So when you look at St. Pat's, we talked about St. Pat's at the start of the season. They've made a great start.
Yeah.
Is it just the squad that's going to hinder them then?
Yeah. I think that's what we even said that, didn't we, from the whole way going through, was that when you has a full selection of the drugs. Oh, we get on to them, Colin.
Good man, Colin. We talk about them soon.
No, we will definitely. Great win for them. Yeah, but we even said that when everyone's fit and healthy, St. Pat's starting 11, it's up there, one of the better ones in the league, But the thinness of the squad has been something that's been said all season, and we're just starting to see that now with suspensions. To be unlucky this season, Pats with suspensions, and look, you have to. That doesn't mean not making excuses. That's always going to be the way. If you're willing to go in with a bare bone squad and a thin squad and rely on a lot of youth players, you have to be ready for these situations. And some of the young lads have come in. I think Darragh Bones has been great this season when it's been called upon. Same with Ben McCormick, Yaras in goal. Like I said, even today, he saved Pats from getting
some quality saves, Nathan. Some quality
absolutely
saves.
Brilliant. Yeah. So, for me, that's what it is. It's just down to the bare bone squad. Pats I still think they can realistically hold out for one of the European places. And that was the goal at the start of the season, and I think that should remain the goal to the end of the season.
Okay. Let's talk about Drogheda, because this is a massive win for Drogheda again, but also a huge defeat for Dundalk, because when we thought Dundalk were turning around, and all of a sudden now they're slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yeah. This is a Dundalk side that's now in the bottom two of the table. That's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, even before I jumped on here, just I'll have a quick look at the table. I knew they got beaten, but with Waterford and Finn Harps winning, down the bottom two, it's absolutely crazy to think. And it's funny.
And can we take it seriously that they're in a relegation battle now? Or like everyone else probably thinking, no, Dundalk are too good to go down, but we're getting there. We're halfway or nearly halfway through the season, or halfway through the season. Surely to God, they've got to get the finger out now soon.
And the next couple of league fixtures, they're playing away to Waterford, away to Longford, home to Sligo, away to Finn Harps. There's some games that if they drop points there, all of a sudden, like I'm in the boat now at the moment. We look at some of them fixtures and think, Dundalk have enough in that squad to get themselves out of the situation. But in a couple of weeks' time, if they drop some points against the likes of Waterford or Finn Harps later on, Sligo, Longford, it's a serious problem for them. And it's funny, isn't it? We were only saying in the podcast a couple of weeks ago how good of a job Vinny Peart done.
Yeah.
He came in, he went on a 7-game unbeaten streak in all competitions, and now I think this is their third league defeat in a row. Crazy to think what's been going on there. I'm not sure. It's look, they're in the bottom two now, so there's obviously a realistic chance that they will be in a relegation dogfight. But look, for me, I think this night obviously belongs to Drogheda, doesn't it? Getting such a big win in the Louth derby and again, what's been such a lousy couple of days for them. I'm sure we've seen with the news about our under 14 manager David Conroy, unfortunately passing away very tragically yesterday. Very loyal coach of Dundalk, a fan, a volunteer, but most importantly, a father to a young family. So your heart goes out to everybody, your friends and family involved. And again, we talked about the passing of Roy Butler on the podcast, but and what's been such a lousy couple of days for everybody involved in the club. While this doesn't even pale in comparison, this is one of them situations where football goes out the window, but to get a good 2-1 win over your local rivals, and I've seen a photo of Gary Deegan embracing David's young son Alex, who's on the Drogheda social media team. So stuff like that is just lovely to see, and I suppose it's a little bit of consolation, isn't it, in what's probably been an absolutely horrific 24 hours for the young lads. So brilliant for everyone at Drogheda United. Brilliant for Mark Doyle to get the 2 goals against his local rivals, and for Dundalk, it's going to be a testy couple of weeks now, isn't it?
I mean, Dundalk, and I echo everything you've said there, Nathan. Obviously, for Dundalk, and very hard for Drogheda to, after that week, to pick themselves up, and so it showed that the closeness there is there at the club, and as you said, that picture we've all seen now, it shows that there is a community there, that they're very well gelled up there. For Dundalk, it's completely opposite, and while we thought Vinny Peart was doing an excellent job, and probably is doing an excellent job still, he's definitely he's a lot to fight against up there, and it's going to be one hell of a season. And as we said about the Peak Six thing, they want to get into Europe. That's not happening, is it?
Nope. No, it's not. Obviously, the still they have a favourable tie in the next round, the FAI Cup. I think it's St. Mark's they're playing, but league position, no, that's completely out of question. And it's going to be tight for Europe. You look at Bohemians, Derry, Drogheda. There's only there's 1 point separating Drogheda from Bohemians. I was sitting in fourth place, so it's got to be a tight scramble there as well. And look, even if the likes of Finn Harps, and you know what, it's mad to even say now, but even Waterford, if they can start picking up some more wins as the weeks go on, they'll be in the conversation as well. So yeah, for me, Dundalk are completely out of the European question when it comes to the league table.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a mad and bizarre situation that we thought was eroding and going away, but it's definitely still there. Waterford, on the other hand, seem to have taken Dundalk's superpowers and changed everything that's down there, from a shambles to a team that's just, I suppose, when we looked at Waterford over the last couple of weeks, they're playing some really, really good football. And again, it seems like there's a togetherness there that wasn't there before.
Yeah, it has been, hasn't it? Ever since, where new manager went in, new ownership changed over. Yeah, there's just been such a new lease of life. And they come back, and we watched them play, got beaten 2-1 by Pats last week. And they really, again, they put up the Pats for a majority of that game. And it is an excellent win here. 2 goals by Keane Kavanagh and 2 goals by John Martin, who Martin in particular has been absolutely excellent for Waterford this season. It really is one of the most, and it was 22, one of the younger exciting prospects from that Waterford side. He's been great this year. Pretty much putting to bed, isn't it, now, that the Longford side of what we imagined. I think a lot of people wouldn't have been a hot take to say that they were in major trouble, and I think that's them really gone now, dropping points like that, and such a decisive defeat 4-1 against a side like Waterford is down there with them and has been for a lot of the season. But now, again, all credit to Waterford, what Mark Bircham has done there. Like I said all the time, listening to him in interviews, such a likeable guy. He's the sort of one, probably similar to Ollie Hogan, you get your sides to walk through walls for him, and to see that he's been nailed down to a 2-year contract a couple of weeks. So, it's all stability that Waterford need. It might be a slow process, it might be something similar to Derry City, but to see the commitment being given to the manager, that's not something that's often afforded in this league. So, yeah, it's definitely all positives for Waterford. And it's mad to say, again, this is a side that, myself personally, I thought we were in major trouble not too long ago. But it's mad. It really is crazy what a managerial change can do.
Yeah. Longford just playing for pride now in this league. Can they gather up a few points and, make a good second half to the season? But there's not a hope in hell of them doing anything and staying up, is there?
No. Look, they're playing UCD next week in the cup. Focus on that, really, you never know. It's a tough game, UCD do well in the fourth division, aside that can slot in plenty of goals, but it definitely could have been worse for them in terms of draws in the FAI Cup. But when they're coming in with such low momentum that Longford are, it's going to be difficult. It's the fourth game now, and the bounce getting beaten. Playing for pride. A couple of good players in the squad now. Like we've said that it's not completely been a bust for Longford. Like Aaron O'Driscoll been great for them in particular for me this season. It's someone that he's probably been the standout player at Longford this season. Dean Williams popping up with a goal for them. Could be a decent option until the end of the season for them. Yeah, that's all it is. It's focused on the FAI Cup. They might get a decent cup run going.
Yeah. Okay, so from one side, Waterford, who changed the manager and had good fortunes, to another side in Athlone. And it's a brilliant start to Paul Doolan's term. 1-0 against Galway. And with the Shelbourne result going the way Galway would have wanted it to go, it's a real slip for Galway here.
Yeah, big time, isn't it? And a Galway side that's been doing excellent stuff over the past while, they've been really turning their season around and looked like they were making a challenge for the league title, or even putting Shelbourne under some sort of pressure. But now Paul Doolan, great starts, Coach Spoon popping up with the goal around on the hour mark. Again, badly needed. Athlone were 4 league games without a victory, and for an Athlone side with clear aspirations, but the amount of people that they've continued to bring in throughout the whole season. Now they want to be badly up in that playoff position, fighting to get back into the Premier Division. So yeah, great statement victory for them. Brilliant start for Paul doing his tenure. A game against Cork City away from next week. So another realistic opportunity, if you're being honest, for Paul Doolan to keep that good momentum going.
Yeah, and Shelbourne drawn a home to Bray. Late enough goal as well. So they're just going through their sticky patch at the moment. And if they can go through, obviously without losing, getting a draw, that's a point earned in all fairness now. If they can get through this sticky patch now and see through the other side and start getting the wins again, we still think they're going to be all right, don't we? It's hard to see them not go on and push on, but they do need to get out of a sticky patch and soon.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's the fourth game now and they bounce without picking up a win. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. Ryan Brennan popping up with the goal here. I think it's his 11th goal this season. Great numbers for a midfielder, and he's the second highest scorer in the fourth division. So I suppose that's one bit of a boy spark for them. Look, a draw against Bray, it's not the worst result in the world.
No.
This is a game Bray Wanderer side. Look, they've been draw merchant this season, but they're still sitting in third place, 2 points behind Galway in second position. So yeah, I think if you took this draw in isolation earlier on in the season when Shelbourne were going on a decent run, you wouldn't be making too much complaints. I just think it is the fact, like you said, it's that they're going through that sticky patch at the moment, which is mad to say because during that sticky patch, you only lost once. So it's sort of a testament, isn't it, to how good this fucking Shelbourne side has been all season. But I think they'll be fine. They have a home game against Wexford next week, so I think if they drop points against Wexford, then we'll be sort of asking questions. But playing Wexford in Talca Park next week, I'd expect nothing but 3 points. I'd actually wonder. I was saying even before we came on here, obviously we talked about the Save Talca Park campaign, haven't we? A few times, and I've seen I think it's the first sort of fan initiative on the ground. They were handing out surveys. Sorry. To gauge fan reaction and fan interest. I'll be interested to keep an eye on that now and see that they publish the results of that survey.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting because
see how the fans actually feel about it.
Yeah, no, and we're looking forward to seeing that. Wexford, again, change of manager, change for results. 5 minutes away from getting 3 points here tonight. Treacy will never ever give up, and a 1-1 draw. Wexford are really sort of showing that there's. Is it just the manager or is it players? Well, no, it has to be the manager, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, there hasn't been a major change in the squad at all. Like Jack Moylan has came in under Ian Ryan's tenure from Bohemians, and he's been very good. But Kyle Robinson, the man of the moment for Wexford, isn't he? This is his third goal now in 3 games on loan from St. Pat's. Stevie O'Donnell, keep an eye out. He could be an interesting one to see how he gets on next season at Pats. But he's been brilliant for Wexford this season ever since he went on loan. I truly would put it down to the new change of manager. They got a good win against Cabinteely last week, beat Cabinteely in the cup a couple of weeks ago, and unlucky here. Obviously for anybody to go to Treaty United and get a draw this season, it cannot be classed as a good result. But look, when I say in Wexford have 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go, a little bit inside you want them to hold out, just for Wexford, but and probably even for more so to make it interesting between themselves and Cove Ramblers. So now there's still that 10-point gap remains between them and Cove. You still think it's probably a bridge too far for Wexford. Like I said, playing Shelbourne next week, so realistically, you wouldn't imagine you get much out of that. But look, for Treaty United, you'd probably be disappointed with that one. They would have been looking like a lot of people Wexford at home to get 3 points, but before this game, they lost 2 games in the bounce. So just to even scrape something out of that with a late Sean McSweeney goal, it's a bit of a consolation. But for a side again in that tight player position, it's these sort of missed opportunities that it could really sway who finishes up in them playoff spots.
Yeah, and of course then Cabinteely drawn with Cork. 2-2. Seems like it's a good, decent game. Didn't get to see it ourselves, but these 2 teams need to be winning games, don't they?
Especially Cork City, they were 2-0 up until the 83rd minute. So, you had to be really disappointed. Cian Murphy, he's another fourth division striker that's been on song completely this season. He's been banning the goals in for Cork City over the past month or so. Yeah, Owen McPhillips. So actually, I know Owen a little bit, so fair play, Owen. Nice one. He popped over the goal by Cabinteely, and then Ben Feeney with a late equaliser. Yeah, it goes up at Cabinteely. Cork City be obviously really disappointed, squandering that 2-0 win. Yeah, these two they are where they are at the moment, and that for me not good enough for the playoffs. The sides ahead of them are far too much to be dealing with. Yeah, Cork will be the ones that be disappointed with this one, because when they do start playing, the likes of Galway, Bray Wanderers, even Treaty, it's difficult to see either side. It's really making a realistic push.
Yeah, they're going to be in this division next year. It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, yeah,
It's hard not to see that happening.
yeah.
Okay, during the week, Nathan, Shamrock Rovers were away to Flora Tallinn in the Europa Conference League. I want to talk about this game in a positive light, but there's so many negatives in a defensive point of view. It's one of those things where it didn't look like Shamrock Rovers to me, as in they abandoned seemingly everything that was about Shamrock Rovers, as in they seemed to have a tight unit. That didn't happen. They didn't panic on the ball. They were always totally in control of the ball. That didn't happen either. And I thought their work rate was not as good. Now, maybe the heat got to them. Maybe the travelling got to them. Maybe there could be a lot of things. But I thought they looked tired as well. What do you make of those points? And do you think that there was something wrong with this Shamrock Rovers team, or was it just a bit of a gulf in class?
I would say gulf of class. I don't know about you. I didn't think they were completely outclassed. I don't think I know 4-2, but they created chances and they had opportunities. And again, early on in the game, probably the first 10 minutes, they looked decent. They looked decent in possession. But yes, some of it's not a defensive performance, isn't it, that you associate with Shamrock Rovers this season? Playing out from the back, they were so sloppy. Strangely naive as well in ways. Talon destroyed them in the counter attack. And how many times did you see Joey O'Brien and Liam Scales, as they wants to do, get forward and join the attack? And they left Roberto Lopez isolated in many occasions. And there was times of 3v1s on Roberto, and you just can't afford to do that in these big European games, because you seen even with the first goal, didn't he? Rovers in the play over the back, it was sloppy, gave the ball away. It was one pass in to Sergei Zenyov, and he just forced touch, took a strike and went in. So, it's a bit more of a clinical nature to these European teams than they probably would have got away with that in the League of Ireland.
I think that's what I meant, Nathan. Instead of go for class, step up in class is probably what I meant to mean. Yeah. Because when they left gaps, they were punished badly.
Yeah, they were, and then that's what it comes down to, wasn't it? They were clinical, and you put them to the sword for the mistakes. And again, probably one or two of them, not all of them. I'm not saying the League of Ireland standard is atrocious, but they could have, I think, particularly with the first goal, with playing out from the back, and there was still 2 or 3 men defenders around the striker, they probably would have got away with that in the League of Ireland. But just the clinical nature of the finish, it's it's disappointing for them. And it's even with Liam Scales going up and getting the goal in the 86th minute to make it 3-2. You thought, that's not bad, because it was a poor Shamrock Rovers performance. 3-2 back to Tallaght Stadium. You've only 1 goal deficit to come back from. But yeah, again, to go straight from that goal and concede from the kickoff with Sean Hoare being completely bullied off the ball. Very, very disappointing from a Shamrock Rovers point of view. And a League of Ireland point of view, like we said here plenty of times, even with me saying past top on me, I'll say that we were openly rooting for Shamrock Rovers to do well in this game and to do well in the next leg. What do you think? Do you think this toy is done? I think that it's a difficult one to say for me, like Rovers, as we know, do have the firepower going forward. Like, they were let down badly defensively, and if they have any sort of a similar defensive performance, I can't see them keeping a clean sheet against this Talent side.
No, and that's the biggest worry. It's not that they couldn't score 2 or even 3 goals, because they're well capable of doing that. But on that performance, they're not capable, if they play anything like that again, they're not capable of keeping a clean sheet. That was the worst performance I've seen from a Shamrock Rovers team all year. They were so open. The back line, the centre-backs, 3 at the back, were getting dragged out all the way out to the full-back positions and leaving huge holes between each other. And they were just treading balls through for fun. The midfield, the pressure was very, very poor, I thought, in the midfield. Anytime the ball was being passed around, across, from one side to the other, I thought they could get their head up, they could pick a pass. I just thought that there was a tired look or a lackadaisy look to the Shamrock Rovers team. And the defending was diabolical. It was poor. As you said, even passing balls out, no pressure on, passing balls out and just passing it straight to Talon centre forwards or into their midfield, and getting caught in the counter attack. It was one of the worst games I've seen from Shamrock Rovers, probably in a couple of years, because it was so unlike Shamrock Rovers. That was what I could see. I sat and I was watching it with my uncle, who doesn't watch football that much, and he was watching Shamrock Rovers, and my dad wouldn't watch League of Ireland all that much either. He'd watch it here and there.
Yeah.
And when I'm watching it, I'm nearly apologising to them, saying these are better than this, and knowing that they're going, yeah, fucking right, not a chance they are, because they're League of Ireland. But it was so unlike them. And there was one time Ronan Finn got the ball, and it came to him, and instead of taking it down, he just booted it up in the air, and I'm going, that's not what you were doing. Like, you had 4 yards of space there. You're normally taking it down, passing it off, and going again. So it was so unlike them. But
making a fucking lawyer out of us as well, aren't he?
They deserve everything.
A lot of we saw here this European run, how Gracie and Bow, some of the atmosphere at the Aviva Stadium, Dundalk picking up great wins, even Rovers picking up great wins in this European run, and we were crying out for some television coverage, and as soon as we fucking get it, with the
jinxed.
Rovers come out and give, like I said, probably the worst performance under Stephen Bradley since his early days when he took over. Some of the fans were pretty bad and he came in early, but they were absolutely horrid to watch, and like you were saying, it was completely out of character for them, wasn't it?
Yeah. What I would say is that can they get through? Of course they could get through, but they are going to have to play a complete switch from the way they played the other night, and have one of the best defensive performances that they've ever had. They can't concede. They just cannot concede at home and hope to go in and win 2-3-0. And you're kind of even saying, because when they got knocked out of the Champions League, they went and scored 2 goals and then conceded and got knocked out with that goal. And you're just thinking, that's probably going to happen again, because the way they played the other night, it was just so diabolical in defensively as a unit, not just in the back line, but as a defensive unit in a team, that it's hard to see them not concede. So they'll have to have their best defensive night this season, and they'll also have to try and come up with 3 goals to go on and win it, unless they go on and win it in penalties. So it can be done, but it's going to be, they're going to have to put in their best performance of the year.
Yeah, big time, they really are. And like you were saying, going back to the Champions League game against Bratislava, they were unbelievable on the night, Shamrock Rovers. They really were, and they'd be really disappointed with that one. And we've heard it, even myself, again, personalising it, living down here in Sligo, you still hear about the night they beat Rosenborg. But again, did you forget to mention that they got knocked out of toys? So we're gone past that stage now for me. It's all well and good beating these teams. We got a good win against them, against Bratislava. We lost a toy. It ultimately doesn't mean anything. So, and realistically, this isn't an overly difficult toy for Shamrock Rovers. Like the Estonian champions, the most successful side since the Estonian top flight has been created. But there's definitely tougher toys for Shamrock Rovers to face, and going into this one, listening to a lot of people, that have an interest in the League of Ireland, there was definitely positivity, and there was definitely, a realistic chance of Rovers getting past this and find themselves in the pot for the group stages.
Yeah, well, they can still do it. It's totally up to them and how they perform. Nathan, I want to just talk to you about Irish referees in Europe.
Not again.
This is not a home now. They've gone abroad to destroy leagues. Nathan, do you want to talk about it? I presume this is the one in Malta.
This is the one in Malta, yeah. I'm a bit of when I'm looking for our topics, I tend to frequent the Examiner. They come up with some just little different League of Ireland stories, and this one caught me. Hibernians over in Malta put in an official protest with UEFA regarding their Europa Conference League third qualifying round game against Riga last week. So the first leg of the game, Hibernian actually won. They beat Riga 1-0 over in Latvia. But the return leg in Malta, they were beaten 4-1. And the general complaint has been put in against Rob Hennessy. People know him as a semi-successful League of Ireland. In fairness to Rob, Rob is probably one of the better refs in the league, and I will be critical of the league, like Derek Tomley and Neil Doyle. Jesus Christ! But in fairness to Rob, he would be of a better standards. I know it's probably the best of a bad bunch, but still, it's not too bad. But the Malta side put in a complaint against him and against the entire official team as well. The assistants, Alan Lynch and Emmett Doynan, and the fourth official Ben Connolly as well, a name that'd be familiar to League of Ireland sides. So pretty much where this all starts is around the hour mark, there was a very questionable offside call given against Hibernian. Oh, I went and seen it, and yeah, it's questionable to say the least. It is dubious. I've seen some League of Ireland fans being like, "Oh no, it was tight." For me, it wasn't. It was definitely questionable, and that would have gave Hibs a 3-1 aggregate advantage. You know, and this is a historic night for Hibernian. They were looking to become the first Malta side to get into the playoffs of a big major away for European competition. So not only the game and the financial backing, but a lot of historical value on the line as well.
Yeah.
So you have that. Riga forced the game into extra time by scoring a goal in the 96th minute. It was 7 minutes at a time. Again, a lot of questions around. Look, I didn't see the game, just going off report and stuff, but a lot of questions around where they got the 7 minutes from. So obviously with a lot of that, a lot of upset of the 7 minutes and the late goal going in, the Hibernian bench obviously went up in arms. And as League of Ireland refs have wanted to do, went over, sent the manager off, sent the player off that wasn't even on the pitch, and they sent the player off that was on the pitch. So now Hibernian find themselves down with a depleted squad anyway, down to 9 men and managerless. And yeah, they went on and were ultimately beaten 4-1 on the game and dumped out of the competition. And by looking at some of the Twitter posts and some of the reaction, the Malta fans are not happy one bit with Rob Hennessy and the Irish referee and assistants and fourth official. Even the Malta Home Affairs Minister even hit out. So it's going to the Maltese government. They're even hitting out at how bad his performance was. Yeah, it really is. The Malta football community is absolutely up in arms with this one. Like ourselves, you know, even if the people weren't supporting Hibernian, they all came together and they all wanted to see them make history and wanted to see Malta football progress in these major European competitions. And yeah, a lot, even the club's Twitter posts, you know, coming out and saying that it was absolutely unacceptable behaviour by Rob Hennessy and his officiating team, and that they don't want the result to be overturned. They just want justice. That sounds very ominous. So
They want them home, do they?
that's what I was thinking. They just want justice, mate. Rob, if anyone's even looking at this that knows Rob Hennessy, don't go to Valletta on your holidays. Don't go to Valletta. You will not be coming back. Yeah, look, I suppose very devastating for Hibernians. You know, like I said, it's a lot on the line, even away from money, you know, away from the financial awards. Such historical value, but I suppose welcome to our world, lads. Welcome to our
That's
world.
it. Yeah, and we've had plenty of that. So it's listen, League of Ireland referees get bashed here quite a bit and throughout the league by League of Ireland supporters. But if you go around the world and every fan base around, I'm sure, are giving out crap about their own referees, so it's not an unusual thing. Just want to finish off on what you thought about RTE and Virgin Media hopping on the bandwagon for the European games. We've given out an awful lot about them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were still unhappy that they actually bothered their arse because it's like it's too late, and then they seem to be all to be doing was criticising. So it's kind of like they haven't looked at the games that teams have performed really well, that highlighted and showcased the league, and then when they do go on, it's a defeat. Just like I said, with my family watching it, and then it doesn't encourage anyone then to in one performance to go back and watch League of Ireland football. And I think for me, this is the problem with the RTE and Virgin, is that, and we've seen loads of comments on League of Ireland groups and different club groups talking about Virgin, and you know, not even talking about the games on a highlights or their news, sports news at the end of the news, but they'll be talking about all sorts of other things, and it's really frustrating, isn't it?
Oh yeah, big time. Like we're saying, you probably wish you didn't fucking do it now. Considering you're about to force here. Yeah. And if those are what it will, you know, that'll be ammunition for people, you know, that don't go to League of Ireland games and think it's a shy standard of football, and it'll be the usual fucking shitty arguments thrown in your face, won't they? You know, like, I won't go to the League of Ireland game. I watched Shamrock Rovers play that Estonian side, and we're back there, like, but it's so out of character. And like you said, try saying it to people, like, you know, like, oh, they're not usually like that. You're like, fuck, yeah, sure they're not, you know, like that. Say your dad was looking at you like, you talk about this Sunday.
Yeah.
You talk about this every week, like twice a week. So it does, and it's a shame to see, isn't it? Yeah, in terms of them jumping on the bandwagon so late, it was that, wasn't it? The Olympics are done and dusted, the Euros are done and dusted. It was just sort of a half-assed attempt, which is to be expected from Virgin Media, and I'm sure we're expecting something similar next week with RTE as well. Just a thrown together attempt of, I shut up here. We'll show the game to shut them up. But yeah, they missed out big time. Like you said, with Dundalk, Bohemians, and Rovers going on such great runs, such big nights for the clubs. Some big victories, some great atmospheres, and a lot of potential new fans missed out on that.
That's it. And we've said it before, if you want something done right, do it yourself, and the league got to just keep pushing forward. Forget about those, and you can make more money of it. I mean, look at RTE getting the license fee in and advertising, and still under pressure. So it's probably not the best run place on the planet. So let's do it ourselves. Okay, Nathan, thanks very much. Thanks to everyone who's watched. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe please, and help us out and help the league out, and we'll promote it as much as we can, and share it with anyone else who is a League of Ireland fan out there. Nathan, thanks very much for your time. It's your favourite part.